3, 2, 1. And come on, let's vape. Welcome to the VAbE, the podcast, or the VAbE experience.
And we are live. How are you guys doing today, the listeners? This is the VAbE, the podcast, and we are here with our 14th episode. We're meeting certain very interesting set of people tonight in the room with me. So let me quickly introduce you to Inaz and her husband Manish. You might remember Manish from our Hustle podcast. So he was kind enough to bring his wife along. And there is something very interesting what we are trying to create here, as you might have seen in the topic, the heading as well of the YouTube and the Spotify title. Yep. So Inaz, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. How are you?
I'm good. Okay. Yes. Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you for inviting me.
Yep. And hey, Manish, how are you?
Hello. Yeah. So good to be
Long
here again.
time and we're back.
Second time in this series of podcast, and
Exactly.
I'm actually excited to get Inas on this because, like, after our last podcast, we started just talking about
True.
things, and this topic came up, and we
Exactly.
were like, we have to do this.
True. So kind of you for to the both of you to sort of show up. And so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to discuss something around organizing and organizing life, as you can see in the title. What we are trying to figure out here is what is organizing, how do you organize your life or things in those particular set of planes as such. But maybe if I could give a very quick, introduction about Inaz. I know her through her husband, and she, as an individual, is professionally organizing things in a lot of people's lives. So, yep, maybe I'll leave the rest of the introduction to Inaz as to what exactly are you doing in terms of organizing things, and maybe if you could give some rundown about that.
So, I never started professionally organizing. I was always organized. But I just realized that there is a sort of need for people to get help to get organized. So I'm trying to help people get organized by basically asking them to join my webinar and teaching them how they can get organized. So I also have I have an online course where I teach you how to organize your home and basically keep that habit, because it's basically you start from your home and then you go on to different
Exactly.
walks of your life. So you
Right.
organize your office, you organize your whatever other things that you have to organize.
So typically, if you have to organize, what are the usual things usually that you're organizing? Like you said, home and office. Apart from that,
So a lot of my students have asked me help to organize their. So they may be teachers, suppose.
okay,
So they need to organize their life sort of to keep that balance. Okay, I don't have to take my papers home. I have to finish it here. All of that.
makes
So
sense.
that is one thing. So so if you are going to get organized, it's not about just के चीजें अपने जगह पे रख लिया types.
Yes.
So you keep things in its place. It's not just about that. It is about keeping your life organized, keeping your work and sort of personal life balance, keeping the time
sense.
available for you for whatever you want to do.
Right.
All of that is also a part of organizing. It is not just that, okay, my space is clean, but my life is a mess.
Yes.
So that is not calling that you are organized.
So the way I understand it, is it somewhere where you're pointing out the journey becomes from within and then goes outwards, like you just said.
Yeah,
As an
exactly.
individual, you are an organized person, and
Yes, exactly.
exactly.
So I will think of things also like that.
Okay.
So like suppose if I'm supposed to go tomorrow at this time, so I
Yeah.
will start organizing today, not
Makes sense.
keep it for tomorrow and be tomorrow dekh lenge. That doesn't happen, right?
The series of procrastination,
Yes.
quote unquote. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, like you said, say home, office, and then you mentioned of say a teacher trying to organize her life. But from a very core perspective, how does organizing help you as an individual? Maybe say a different plane. What I'm trying to hint towards. So, for instance, like you said, your thoughts are pretty much clustered or cluttered or something of that sort, and you're trying to sort of approach the world with a particular ideology as such, very specifically. But from a very spiritual or a mental angle, how do you look at organizing, and how does that typically help individuals?
Okay, so see, if you are organized, your mind is free from the clutter of daily hustle. So you're not thinking, okay, now I need to wear this. What should I do? How will I iron my clothes? How will I go here? All of that you have eliminated. So if you have to take some time and do some meditation, you have that time because you've done your prep work of as such, right?
Okay.
So you spoke about how it has helped unclutter my mind. So this is one of the reasons. I'm not thinking about my daily things. Where is this kept? Where is that kept? All of that I know. So
Exactly.
my mind is free from all that sort of unwanted, unnecessary pressure.
Yeah.
So if I have to get dressed, even like you tell me 10 minutes you have to get dressed, I know where my things are.
Right.
So I can do my job more productively.
Makes
And
sense.
my mind is free to do whatever it has to do besides this.
Sure. So,
So
okay.
yeah. So if you are telling me, so there are a lot of students who are like, we sort of get very flustered. We see the
Yes.
mess and we cannot think beyond the mess,
Right.
because when you see the mess, you can't see beyond that. After a point of time, like
So-
if you see your hall, suppose you see
Yeah.
your hall or you see your work table is in a big clutter, and now your boss is asking you, give me this XYZ thing. Your mind will not work fast because you can see the clutter first.
So, will it be safe to say that if you, as an individual, if you are having a vision, having a lot of cluttered thoughts or things like that, maybe makes your vision a bit more hazier?
Yes, and it also impacts your creativity.
Okay.
Because you
Right.
cannot get creative in a cluttered environment. It can be
Right.
anything. Even if your arts and craft things are kept, like that is like full on creativity.
Yes.
If you cannot find your particular color, how will you get creative? वो blue ही नहीं मिल रहा है for the sky, like that
Correct.
kind of thing. So even if it has to be, suppose you're making something on the computer and your computer desktop looks like a big mess,
Right.
you are not going to be able to find your file or whatever it is and then not be
Absolutely.
that kind of creative. So as a lot of places you must have read that clutter is the killer of creativity.
Nice. So maybe there were, before our podcast, I was actually researching about organizing things. So if you could maybe throw some light on such similar words, the usual words which are used, say having a cluttered mentality as such, or having a hoarder mentality as such, and having say an organized mindset. How are these three different? I mean, just for the listeners, I know they are super different than each other in their own perils. But how would you typically define that? Say you want to say that an organized mindset is XYZ and the so and so.
Yeah. Before Inas starts, I just
Yeah.
want to add to that question. So
Right.
a lot of people confuse between the clean and the
Be
clutter.
organized.
Right.
And clean and the
Organized.
clutter. Yeah,
Exactly.
So what is clean and what is organized basically?
Right.
So when do we see it is clean and when do we see it is organized?
Right.
So that is also, so if you can explain that also.
Exactly. I mean,
adding to
that's a
that.
very,
Yeah.
very great thing.
Yeah. So cleaning and organizing are different things.
Okay.
When you do your sweeping, mopping, dusting, all of that is cleaning.
Correct.
Your space might be clean, but you may still not find your items in its place.
Right.
Like your tabletop might be clean, but the drawers are a mess.
Right.
Or like random scissors are kept in random places.
Right.
Like things like that. So that means that you're not organized even though you are clean. So that's what I keep telling my students also, that you may have buys and all of that. They will clean your house.
Right.
They will not organize your house. You can't
Makes
expect them to keep things in its place for you to live a better life.
Right.
So that is why I don't understand the concept of professional organizers also.
Okay.
Coming to your house and organizing your things for you to live a better life and then you getting confused where they have kept their things.
Correct.
Kept your things for your life to be
Yeah,
better.
it's a habit. Like you have to
True.
learn and execute.
But the way I see it, it is something which is coachable, right? So
Yes. So
for instance, me, if I look at myself, I might be a clean person, but then in terms of organizing, there is absolutely no method to madness.
yeah.
So, I mean, I would
Yeah.
obviously go to someone who knows how to do these things and try and understand. So that's where the webinars come in
yes.
very
So
handy, right?
organizing is basically very personal.
Exactly.
What you may find organized,
Right.
I may not find organized because
True.
I am a labeler and you are not a label person. You know
Exactly.
your things. So you may not want to sit and label कि this is t-shirt, this is pants. You know कि भाई यहाँ पे t-shirt रखा है, यहाँ पे pant रखा
Exactly.
है, right? So, but for somebody, they would want that sort of mental, I would say organized look,
Okay.
like that aesthetic look that, yeah, okay, fine, here I have kept my this, here I have kept that.
Right.
You know, so organizing is very personal, first of all.
Right.
You can't like look at Pinterest photos and say, oh, they are more organized than me.
Exactly.
They may
Yeah.
not be, and you may not be able to sustain that sort of habit.
Got
It's
you.
like a diet. Like you see what works for you. Some
Right.
people, keto is working. For some people, intermediate fasting is working.
Got you.
So you do you and don't look at other people. Like this is
Makes
one
sense.
thing.
So it is very hyper personal and very
yes.
customized to.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it is something that you
Mhm.
are going to do every single day. If it is not sustainable for you, you will just stop it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Right? So that is why I
Mhm.
would suggest like to people that do find what works for you.
Right.
Try everything and do you. And mix it, match it, do whatever works for you.
Makes sense.
Like don't go buy the book or whatever books.
Correct.
Take inspiration and do you.
That makes sense.
So
Now, if I have to sort of pinpoint towards clutter, how would you define a clutter?
So clutter is basically anything. So okay, so let me talk about a little statistics first.
Yes.
So Indians, this is in a lot of blogs that Indians love mess. Okay, you will not see so much mess in a European household
Right.
or a American maybe, but but Indians have more mess than others.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And any specific reason that you come across?
I think it's the emotional quotient also. Two
Okay.
things. I would just give like a very the top of the head. I got this example. Okay, so when I was going to get married, I came like my husband was shifting to a new house because to
Right.
accommodate my stuff and like me. But-
Right.
so I went to his house and I see that they have so much vessels for two people.
Right.
Why do you have so much vessels for two people?
Right.
And for the first time in my life, I saw a 9-liter cooker. I have never seen.
Okay.
Why would you need a 9-liter cooker in a person's house where there are two people staying?
Okay.
So that kind of thing people don't think.
Right.
And I asked his mom, and his mom is like, because in the village we cook for the entire wedding party.
So just in case if someone drops in or something.
And I do not understand.
Are you throwing a huge party there, Manish?
And okay, in the village
I
you
don't have
cook.
answers for this. So, I really don't
So
know.
in the village you cook for many people for a
Right.
wedding, but you keep that 9-liter cooker in your house in Mumbai. I
Right.
do not understand.
Okay.
So these kind of questions people don't tend to ask because
Okay.
they never thought of this.
Right.
And we got married in a banquet. Nobody cooked the food. Like the
Unless
banquet
I
guy
asked
cooked.
you for what reasons you came across in the blog.
All right.
No.
So let's just come back to clutter.
Okay, so this is the kind of mindset people have. They don't realize.
No, it makes
Like
sense
the
because
clutter is there, but they don't know why.
now if I have to answer the same question, I am probably trying to prepare for a rainy day. I don't know for which rainy day, but I am hoarding and collecting things. Maybe someday this will come in handy.
Yes, so the
that's
clutter is two types.
okay.
Someday clutter and
Okay.
memory clutter. Someday
Right.
clutter is the clutter that you have in your house for
Right.
a someday.
Correct.
And that someday will never come. You will have a storeroom which is full of stuff which
Right.
you don't even realize is in your house
Correct.
because you have sort of not looked at it for like 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 2 years.
Right.
And you have kept it for that someday. And when that someday comes, you may not end up looking in that pile. You may end up, I would say, searching. Okay. So you may end up buying new things.
प्रेस एंटर मैं वहां से एडिट करूंगा बस आया मार्क अच्छा जस्ट गिव मी द माउस ये होता है बीच में
Okay, so yeah, you may end up, as I was saying, you may end up, what is I saying? Do you remember what I was saying?
No, someday clutter.
Yeah, so you may end, so when your time comes of using that item, you may not go and look in your storeroom, but you may just buy a new one.
Right. Exactly. So now
So-
I need it. It's the need of the hour. I'll just buy it.
Yeah, because
But then doesn't that also add to the clutter? Now I don't
Yes.
need it again. Okay.
and you have two of the same item.
Yeah.
And then that item you won't throw because someday clutter.
Interesting.
Memory clutter is clutter in your house where you have attached a memory. So
Right.
you have received some awards, kids drawings. So I've heard so many.
Yeah.
All my students are mostly mothers, and they're like, my kids have drawn this.
Mm.
I mean, your kids will keep drawing. Do you really need to keep everything?
Maybe
like-
one of them you can, but not all of them.
Yeah,
I'm not
like-
sure. I mean,
Like,
Nowadays
for
you
love
can
of all
digitize
kids.
everything, right? So
Yeah,
that,
but then-
that makes even more
Yeah.
sense.
but then that digital also needs to organize. No? Kids drawing karke, there should be a folder on your
still
computer.
okay, right? It's
Correct.
not like you just need to manage that thing.
Yeah.
It's not consuming your physical space.
Yes,
Right.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Now,
Yeah, so-
people tend to hold value to that paper also on which it was made. So basically, your value system, what it tells you about the things, I guess that's what I'm taking away from the
Ye-
clutter bit. But maybe one more thing which I just realized, a lot of places, there are things which are more of a fad. For example, I wanted to make chocolates and I bought some silicone molds. It's been lying at my place for the past 2 years.
Hmm.
I've just made chocolate once. So, I mean, how do I, sort of make sense of it?
so what I tell people is that you sort of self-evaluate. Be
Okay.
honest with yourself
Okay.
that if you really want to get organized, then you will have to start somewhere. So
Right.
first step is honesty.
Hmm.
And not honesty to anyone else, but to yourself.
Makes sense.
That I have not used this item. I will probably not use this item. Then I need to donate this item. Or I am probably
Or sell
never
that
going
item,
to
yeah.
lose weight and fit into this dress. Or when I lose weight, I should buy a new dress.
Makes sense.
That kind of thing. So a lot of people keep items in their house for a weight loss that has never happened.
Correct.
Because I used to fit in this dress, I should be able to fit in the future.
Right.
So, and clothes, they get spoiled also, right? So why?
That makes sense because I am one of those. So it surely does make sense. I can absolutely correlate to that. But what specifically, one more thing which I wanted to actually ask you to throw some light upon was about the hoarding mentality.
Okay, yeah.
So-
So,
How does that typically pan out? Because we were speaking about it back
Yes.
at the cafe.
So when you speak about hoarding, she has
Yeah.
a very personal example to give.
yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if she's comfortable, but she speaks about her grandfather who used to hoard a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
in us,
Yeah, so my grandfather, paternal grandfather,
Okay.
was a hoarder.
Okay.
He was he was like epitome.
Okay.
Okay, so when he passed away, we cleared out his house and all. There were so many random objects. Like he would hoard, what is it called? The plastic in which the milk comes.
Right.
That he had, like almost 100 bags.
I remember people used
Like-
to plan on doing something with it back in the days. I don't remember what exactly. But
I-
Used to
I
stick it
don't-
on the tiles of the.
exactly, I've seen that in a lot of houses.
Yeah. So so what he used to majorly hoard were newspapers. And
Oh.
he had a lot of newspapers.
Okay.
I think dating back when I was born. I
Yeah.
am born in the 90s.
Got you.
So from there he had papers till the 2000. That is a lot. That is a lot of
I know.
10 years.
I've seen those bunches like everywhere. Like the house is full of newspapers.
Wow.
Okay, so my surname is Kagalwala. which means paper. Like kagal is paper in Gujarati.
Okay.
So maybe my grandfather was inspired. I don't know. So so he used to keep a lot, and like as children, though we never used to question, but my
Right.
parents used to question it. That why? So now, as an adult, I understand that he may have had a disorder, which is called like a hoarding disorder,
Okay.
which is a type of OCD,
Mhm.
but it is like even organizers, you can say, are like sort of like they have a little symptoms of OCD, but then
Exactly.
they are like two different. Like organized,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I see it, right?
yeah.
Uh,
So, okay. So, basically, they are two different
Yeah.
and they are two polar opposites, but it is a disorder. So, it may be preventing him mentally from parting with the newspapers. Now, obviously, as he never read those newspapers. He
okay.
liked those newspapers.
All right.
So, only Sunday Samachar, I don't even know if it is English or Gujarati, but this is what he used to keep.
okay.
And okay, so what happened because of that?
Hmm.
They were old, my grandfather and grandmother. They did not have the time to clean everything.
Right.
And you have to understand that your bai is not going to do it for you. If you are not interested, right? If you are not going to remove the clutter for them, they are not going to clean that space,
Exactly.
right? So they did not. And a lot of insects gave birth there,
Oh, okay.
and a lot of dust collected there.
Yeah.
So we removed a lot of newspapers when my grandfather was diagnosed with asthma.
Lord.
So he got asthma because he was constantly breathing in all of that
Hmm.
in his house. So that is years of dust, years of insects procreating.
you.
I don't know what is the word, but yeah. So that is what he's breathing. So clutter, people don't realize, can cause mental disturbances in your life,
Even
but
physical
also
to certain
physical
extent.
disturbances. A lot of people have allergy, dust allergies. You can't like blame the environment always for your
Right.
dust allergy. It can be in your house, which you're breathing constantly, and old people to all the more. So,
Makes sense.
but the people who are hoarding the clutter are, so like a lot of my students also tell me that my SAS is not willing to let go of this item.
Got you.
So they are the ones who don't want to get rid of the stuff, and they are the ones who are getting affected the most.
I remember somebody contacting you, like, please guide me, like, how did you manage your SaaS so I can manage my SaaS?
Mother-in-laws in the house.
Yeah. So like if you are the woman of the house, you can control.
Correct.
But if you have another senior woman in the house, then it becomes a little problem,
Makes sense.
right? But if you're living alone, then there is no excuse.
True that. Now, maybe one more concept I'd love to bring in was minimalism. I am, for one, a very, very happy and a huge believer in that, have limited number of colors of t-shirts, colors of jeans, maybe few colors of socks, just 2 coats and a few pairs. So I am a hoarder of shoes, maybe, perhaps. Not a hoarder per se, but I love having shoes and a lot of perfumes with me. So that's the only place which minimalism doesn't work. But everything else, I'm trying to, sort of have a very minimalistic approach in terms of, that first thought in your head that what do I wear for today? Okay, I've got just this. Wear it and just move. So how does that typically work out?
Yeah. So
According to you.
hoarder disorder can be mild and can be severe.
Correct.
Right. So everyone has little bit.
Right.
Okay. Everyone has that something that they're hoarding.
Correct.
Like for me, I think it is my wardrobe.
Makes sense.
I hoard it, but then if I see that space nahi hai, then I will start donating also.
Great.
But my first reaction will not be that. Okay, so when it becomes severe is when you get into like it will spread everywhere like wildfire.
Got
It will
you.
spread in your house, it will spread in your work, in your car, anywhere, on your desktop, anywhere it can spread. Right? So now yours minimalism. A lot of people are approaching
Exactly. It's-
towards minimalism. But
Right.
as I said, there will be always something where you're not minimalistic.
Got you.
Like you may be like, okay, I don't need so many things in my kitchen,
Right.
but in my wardrobe is full. And
Makes
some
sense.
people will be like, so my mother, she also hoards cutlery and crockery.
Hmm.
She will have very less things in her cupboard, but her kitchen is full.
Got you.
But she will, so I learned organizing through my mother and father.
Okay.
So my mom because we were staying in a very small apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that apartment there is no space, so you
Right.
have to be organized, or
Right.
you will not have space to sleep.
live also.
Yeah,
Makes
to
sense.
sleep or to walk anywhere.
Right.
Right. So because of that, my mother sort of taught us, and we
Right.
didn't have grandparents to help us. Okay, I will clean for you. My parents are going to work. We have to clean for ourselves. So you just as I always tell my students also, that make your child independent from a very young age, so that when that child becomes old,
Right.
you are not expected to do anything, or their spouse is not expected to do it.
Makes sense. So, I mean, it's in your budding age, you inculcate certain habits.
And it's a life of discipline also.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
keep things in its place. You finished your toys, keep it in its place. You finished your drawing, keep things in its place. If you're going to be if they are going to expect you to clean up every time, then at
Right.
30 also they are expecting you to clean up.
Okay, so she's hinting at me.
Yes.
So that's what, it has happened with me. It was just my mother and myself at home,
Right.
and she did everything for me,
Exactly. So,
until I got
I mean,
married, because now I'm as Inas is there, she doesn't let my mom help me, and she doesn't help me. So that's something
I mean,
ended
it's
up
kind of
in.
picking up your own
Yes,
responsibility,
yes.
right?
So I can feel the difference,
Makes sense.
how I was getting everything on my plate, and now how I have to do everything by myself. Inas would still help if I'm in a hurry, I have to go to
Sure.
work or something. But still, she will remind you, okay, this is something you have not done. This is something
that
is
makes
still
sense,
pending.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm a firm believer. If you're in the kitchen, so I love to have a clean kitchen whenever I am cooking or something of that sort. If someone before me has, sort of maybe had a very huge storm pass by, that's the usual feel which I get.
Yes.
I am unable to cook.
Yes.
I mean,
So as I said, limits your
yeah.
creativity.
Exactly. So, I mean, I simply just ask either my mother or my sister to just go and clean whatever they've done and make some space for me to at least cook or something of that sort.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
sense. Yeah.
it's kind of about holding to responsible. Sure,
And
it doesn't
we
make
are
feel
adults,
good.
right? So we need to hold ourselves responsible. You
Yeah,
can't
right.
I'm
blame.
completely opposite, to what you are. So I don't care about whatever is there.
Yeah.
I just start cooking. I make
Correct.
space for myself.
Right.
But the moment Inas comes into the kitchen, even if she's not cooking, she will go mad. What have you done?
Right.
I'm cooking. But she would not care.
No, so,
Pick this up, throw this. So slowly, it's a habit. Now I am that person. It's done, throw it. It's done, throw it.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that typically helps you in terms of at least having the creativity, like you were mentioning. But good, you got me to a very good segue here in terms of habits. So
Yeah.
like we were, sort of trying to sort of create something just before the podcast. We were trying to identify certain habits. Maybe how can you begin your journey in terms of organizing, right? So we identified around 8 of them there in us.
Yes. So before you start with habits,
Right.
it is your mindset that needs to change.
Exactly.
You have to ask yourself certain questions. That firstly, if you're listening to this podcast till now, if you've listened to it, then
Right.
clearly you are interested in getting your life sort of sorted,
Makes sense.
and you want to make the change.
Right.
But either you're getting overwhelmed that there is too much work,
Mm,
or you are like, okay, I want to change, but I don't want to change my habits.
Makes sense.
So that will not work.
Right.
If you want to get organized, you have to work hard towards it.
And show some intent also towards it.
Yes.
Like have an intention of
Correct. So in my
Having an
webinars, I
organization.
ask my students certain
Right.
questions. I ask them that what do you think how does your home look like right now? And what do you want it to look like once it's done? So what that gives them an opportunity to think about this,
makes sense.
which you don't think. You're like, my house is messy. I want to get it organized. Why? Why do you want to do that?
Right.
Do you want a better life? Do you want to feel free? A lot of people want freedom from the clutter
Makes sense.
because they are seeing it for so long. They don't know where to start. They are like just headless, sort of.
Exactly. So,
So
in terms of the habits, so the first one would be typically the mindset is
the
what you're talking about.
mindset has to change.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
so you have to think in that direction that, okay, fine, my family is getting affected by this.
Yes.
I am seeing the clutter. I'm yelling at my children. This is not okay. They need to pick up after themselves so that I don't yell at them.
Makes sense.
And you have to hold your children responsible. You can't. So Indian mothers,
Right.
even at 30, they are like, my child doesn't need to do this. I will do it. He is 30 years old.
It makes sense. I mean, the way you're saying it, but I've seen this in even US households where even after a particular age, certain set of parents are still saying that it's fine.
Smothering the word.
Exactly.
Yes. So at that stage,
Mhm.
you are not organized. Your child will not be. And
Makes
then
sense.
their child will not be.
Makes sense.
And their mothers are always going to pick up after themselves.
True.
So you don't want that at this stage. Like our generation
Yes.
is not going to have that bandwidth to do all this. Because the women are
Right.
also working and they are also tired.
True. The today's age does involve this, right? I
Yes.
mean, you are wearing various hats and you're
Yes.
actually running around in terms of having an expectation that someone else will take care of this. I mean, that comes out a bit too short.
Exactly. And you cannot expect the spouse to do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Like that
maybe
typical traditional mindset, it is changing. That spouse is like, dude, you figure it out. I'm not doing it.
because the spouse herself is also fending
Yes.
for the overall household.
Yes.
The way I see it.
Even if she's
sense.
not, he's not her responsibility. Her child is her responsibility.
Makes sense.
Okay. So I mean, it's a very harsh thing to say, but this is the truth.
All right.
Right? So changing your mindset is number one. Like if you are the woman of the house, then you need to basically first change yourself. So
Got you.
a lot of women have told me that my kids make a mess. So your cupboard is not fixed because your kids makes a mess in the hall. Like,
I mean, there's no correlation.
there is no correlation,
Absolutely.
right? So you can't say that your phone your phone is a big mess. Your photographs are a big mess because your child is making a mess in the hall. It doesn't make sense,
It doesn't add up. Yeah.
right? So you can't. So number one is changing your mindset. Hold yourself accountable. Like say that to yourself that, dude, I need to do this. I have 1 hour, at least something I can do.
Makes sense.
Right? So that kind of thing has to happen. So with everything, if you're going to start any new thing, you have to change your mindset.
Right.
I accept the change.
Right.
Okay, because change is good. Always it's not bad. Like organizing is good.
Yes.
And
I
yeah,
mean, there is no other way to this.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
Because only you can do this. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I tried, like, before getting married, I thought, like, okay, Naz is coming home. My life is sorted because she's so organized. But it doesn't work that way. Like,
I mean, it
so-
is like you said, it is very personal, right? I
Yes.
mean, to
Yeah.
every individual. It has to be that way.
so I organized his cupboard
Yeah.
and now I am behind him to keep it organized.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did it together. But so even if we are packing a bag,
Yes.
he will be like, will you pack the bag? No. Why? Why will I pack your bag? You figure it out.
Makes sense.
You
but,
need-
but what I would appreciate is, like, Inas really took steps, like small steps towards this. First, she would do like 70-80%. Then she came down to 40-50, then 20-30. Like this, like, so I at least
So at least it wasn't
understood
overwhelming
those-
for you
yes,
that,
yes,
hey,
like,
what the hell?
do everything
No.
on by yourself. No.
But there's usually a silver lining to this as well, right? I mean, a lot of things I'm sure you might not know that, this can be done this way in terms of organizing
Yes,
things, right?
I did
absolutely.
not even know this needs to be done.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like that. Like they
Yes.
don't realize that the clutter is causing so much mental stress. So stress
Right.
is equal to mess.
Yes.
So
And they're in that vicious cycle.
Yes,
I mean,
they
there's
don't
stress, so
know
more
that-
clutter,
yes.
cluttered, so more stress.
so like
yeah.
people have insomnia. They have
Right.
mental anxiety, depression. Like,
Got you.
they get anxious and depressed. They don't know what to do.
Right.
And they also get like I would say memory loss.
Got
Because you can't function
True.
if you have clutter in your
True.
house. Like kahan rakha hai cheeze? It's like that. You also get bronchitis, asthma, so many
Makes
problems
sense.
because of the clutter, and all of this gets sort of evaporated if you get organized, because you are very productive, your time is
Right.
managed, so you have lots of time. Or I'm not like saying lots of time, but you have time for you to do other things. and you're spending quality time on the thing you're doing, and not just like I'm
I
spending
mean, there'll be
1 hour.
one decision less to make, right? Where do
Yes.
I find the scissors, for instance?
Yes, and you like, especially in Bombay, anytime saved is good, and for a new mother, anytime saved is good,
100%.
right? So, like that way, I mean, like, see, I understand there will be phases in your life where you don't have the energy, you don't have the time, but you have to get back on track fast.
Makes sense.
But
Like-
in those like situations also, like if you're already organized, it like things are easier for you.
Exactly. You're prepared.
Yeah.
It's as though you're
Yeah.
prepared for the battle.
Yeah.
You have all your arsenals
Yes.
pointed at the right places, not a single magazine which is empty, and you're reaching the
Yes.
main
Yes.
front.
Exactly
now.
like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. So that's that.
That's
So,
point number 1. Now, point
Yeah.
number 2. What would that be now?
so point number 2 is you can start by writing things down.
Wow.
Okay. You write down anything that you want to write down. You want
Makes
to write down
sense.
people's birthdays, write it down.
Right.
Because you're not going to remember when that day comes, you may forget.
Right.
Okay. So you write things down, you write your schedule down, you
Right.
write your
To-do list.
food diary, to-do list, shopping list,
Okay.
budgeting. Right, like if you want to budget at the end of the month, don't sit at the end of the month with all your bills. Today I spent this much, put it in your phone. It's easy.
Right.
Right now, phone has made our life so much easier.
Makes
So
sense.
write things down. Whatever you need to, if you need to be in this direction, like if you know, okay, now I have like 2 days of potatoes left. So write down potatoes in your shopping list.
Makes sense.
So that day you're not like, oh, what is left? Oh, I forgot potatoes.
Right.
Right.
So when you're on the shopping app or you're at the
Yes.
grocery store, 110 times.
This has
It would
happened with
definitely happen with
everybody.
me.
Yeah. So like
Makes sense.
today also
Makes
we were ordering something and Manish is like, shakkar bhul gaye.
Makes sense.
But if you had written down sugar beforehand, you wouldn't have forgotten. When the sugar was about to get emptied, you refill the sugar.
Right.
Like in your store, in your pantry, you refill it so that when the sugar gets over, you have a backup sugar.
Got you.
Or when you remove that packet, you replace it with another packet.
Got you.
Things like that. So that is something you will do only if you've written it down. Either you type it down, write it
Right.
down, whatever works for you. Put it on the fridge, whatever.
So maybe visualizing it is much easier
Yes.
in terms
If you're
of,
like you can't remember everything.
True that.
It is not
True
possible.
that.
Like we are very
Yeah.
busy.
So I just want to mention Inas's habit on this. So in case she's like, suppose I am at home and we are going somewhere in the evening or something, and she's going to work or she's going out.
Yeah.
So she will make it a point. She will, whatever I need to do after she leaves or for myself, for home, whatever,
Yes.
she will write it down on a paper
Wow.
and she will keep it under my mouse on my work
Right.
desk. So it is always there. So there is no chance I'll forget.
You'll
The
skip
moment
that.
I sit for work, it is there.
Wonderful.
So it is like a very regular thing. It's not once in a blue moon thing. Arey, I got a letter on my desk. No, it's nothing like that. It's a very regular thing.
No, but that makes sense. But how much time does it take for you to create, say, such a list typically? Or, I mean,
So
in terms of organizing, so maybe I'll make it more specific in that question. That suppose you're working on your to-do list. So you're trying to organize your day as to what all are your action items which you need to typically work upon and spend those extra bit of neurons on, right? So how much time do you typically take and what time of the day do you really look at this?
So as I remember it, I write it down.
Wonderful.
So there are like blackboards in the house. So I write it down wherever I get, and
Yes.
then I will like just gather my thoughts and I'll go room by room. What
Alright.
is supposed to do in this room? What is supposed to be done here? And
Yes.
I will write out on one big list. But I make it a point to write down basically as and when I remember it, because I am very forgetful. Like I'm
Right.
like extremely forgetful. I will not remember a lot of stuff.
Right.
So like right now also I've written down my stuff, what I have
Exactly,
to say,
exactly,
because
yeah.
I will forget.
Right.
And I must have forgotten so much. But yeah,
But that's still fine, right? I mean, you're not somewhere stuck because of that you need to spend that extra bit of headspace into remembering things. Rather, you could use that productively to achieve or
right.
howsoever you want to put
Right.
it as.
Right,
That makes
absolutely.
sense.
So yeah, so whatever works for you, as I said.
Exactly.
If you can remember, if you're like too smart and you can remember it, go for it.
Wonderful.
And write it down together, whatever.
Right.
But writing it down really sort of makes you visualize better.
Exactly.
Then honestly, then typing also writing is better.
That makes sense.
Because when you write down, when you're using your hands
skills and everything,
to write down, it will be a little different. So yeah, that was
How
habit.
about the next one, the third one?
Third one, yes. So do not procrastinate.
Wow, that's one
So,
difficult pill
Yes.
you're giving me.
So
But does saying that really work? Like, everyone keeps saying it, but
exactly.
how do
So
you do
how
that?
does that usually
how do
work out
you,
in terms
like,
of
overcome it?
as I
Yeah.
said, you have to hold yourself accountable.
right?
Okay. Or else you give yourself rewards. If I
Right.
do this job, I will eat a pizza.
Makes
Or
sense.
I will buy something.
Hmm.
Or I will go out, get dressed and go out and with my friends or whatever you
Basically,
want to.
positive reinforcement.
Reinforcement, yes.
Yeah.
And if you cannot remember,
Hmm.
put sticky notes
Right.
around the house. This will be always in the start. Like
Right.
eventually, if it becomes, it's like riding a bike. Then it will not be like such a big task because you've always been keeping it in this way. So you will always keep it like that.
So maybe
So-
if two Satoshis I would share here, I remember in terms of procrastination, someone had given me that particular quadrant where there were activities which were supposed to be done and when is it supposed to be done in terms of the priorities. It's a priority
So
matrix.
it's
if I'm not
correlating
wrong.
to that urgent and important.
Exactly. So something which is urgent right now and something which is more important. So how do you sort of typically for the listeners, this can be done as more like a quadrant which is made and that is called the priority quadrant, if I'm not wrong. Usually that's how, that is supposed to be done. But again, comes to the second point that you're supposed to write this down. Right? So it only makes sense when you actually put in those things in those separate buckets.
Yes.
And you try and work on them at a particular point of time where it is needed the most.
Correct.
Makes
And
sense.
what you can do is set deadlines.
Right.
Okay, 1 week, this has to be done.
Makes sense. So you
Okay.
attach a timeline to it.
Time, and always
Perfect.
it will help because our timeline will help you stay accountable as well.
Right.
And you will be able to make your own timeline and
Makes
make a realistic timeline. Like, don't really make an unrealistic timeline and like rush, and then you will feel like it's a task.
Right.
You need to keep your things. Okay, this week is a little busy, next week is free, so let me do it next week. But if like I see a lot of people have these 30-day calendars.
Yeah.
What if you miss that one day? Then
Right.
what do you do? Okay, those
No, but you still have those habit tracker calendars.
correct.
So what
Habit
happens is
tracker is good.
you just okay, tick marked. I did it today.
Yes.
I did it tomorrow. One
Yes.
day miss is still okay. You decide how
Well-
serious you want to be with that.
Right.
But I think that's a good idea because it's
Exactly.
a habit after all, and you will be able to track how is it going so far, or is it really helping. So it's good in a way.
Yes. Okay. So as I said, everyone's work, whatever works for you works for you.
Makes
If
sense.
this things like this never worked for me,
Okay.
like making what would I say, like a timetable,
Right.
it doesn't really work for me. What works for me is doing it right then and there. I
Hmm.
remembered it, I will just do it.
So the
Like I
harder
will,
task,
yeah.
give it a harder push and
Yes.
get it
So
done.
I
Yeah.
like if you will tell me Thursday now you have to do this. By Thursday comes, I will forget because I am that person. And even if it is written in front of me, I may forget.
Makes sense.
But
So,
if I know that I need to do this right now, I will just do it. Like I'll remove 5
Right.
minutes, do it. Maybe I'll do it half, but maybe it's done half. But that's the point. So what happened was that when I came, like you may remember, when I had just come to the house after I got married, I finished my entire wardrobe in one day.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
could not sleep. I was getting palpitations looking at that thing.
right.
So I am that person. So even if we come back from a trip, even if we've
Yeah.
come at like 10 o'clock in the night, 1 o'clock in the night,
You will go mad. Just go to sleep. She will just sort.
Wow.
You go for bath, you come out, and you'll be like,
Wow.
Like
Oof.
just like
Some fairies
yes,
just did
so
their
like
magic.
before our wedding, she
Hmm.
kept sending, like every time I visited her house,
Hmm.
she kept sending thoda saman, like like take this back, take this back, take this back.
Yes.
And that time like, I just kept it randomly there
Right.
in the room. And my mom was wondering, like, where is she going to keep all this? Like, there is so much, like,
Yep.
so many bags. And the next day of the wedding, like, everything was gone. And my mom was like, where is it gone?
So I'm
So
that
that's the
person.
magic of
Yeah,
organizing.
she organized everything in that day.
Wow.
Bas. It's done.
Wow.
Everything is there. Like, she like fixed the places and it was done.
Amazing.
So I'm that person. But you may
Okay.
not be that person.
Makes sense.
You may not have that time.
I still have a 1 month old suitcase still to be unpacked to a few things. I mean, that's my place to find out one of my t-shirts, maybe something of that sort.
So my
So, yeah,
sister
that's
is this.
me.
This is my sister.
Yeah.
My sister, when she'll come back, she
Hmm.
will not open her bag.
Right.
I'm not going to open my bag today.
Hmm.
I'm going to open my bag tomorrow.
Right.
But I will see the bag and I will open it. Because I cannot see an unpacked bag. I mean, unopened
It's not
bag.
just like, there are extreme times where we came from a long trip.
Hmm.
She removed all the clothes
Yes.
from the bag and she put it in the washing machine and she kept it for drying also. And then she slept.
Wow.
Like, this is also something that I have witnessed. I like, morning you see like everything is drying, like, because I just come and crash.
Right.
So like, but she will keep the time aside to finish all the tasks, and that is something I still cannot imagine doing myself.
That makes
It's
sense.
very
in
difficult
terms of-
mentally, like, you just come home and relax, like, but so that's where, like, it comes from, like, your personal
Individual
priority,
levels,
and like,
correct.
you want to do it, you will do it.
Absolutely.
Like that, like, so once you decide, maybe, like, the time will come when I am also like that. Okay, so let's do it. And like, but
Correct.
still I have not reached that stage, like, because I come home, I want to just go to sleep, like,
That makes sense. So, I mean, I think it's very personal in terms of how you
Yes.
approach this, right?
so it may or may not work for you, but you need to have a plan for yourself. Then if not
makes
in the
sense.
night, then am I going to get up early in the morning and do it? And like you need to have a plan for yourself.
So there is something which I believe is that I need to do this.
Yes.
I'm doing it today, or I'm
Hmm.
doing it tomorrow, or
Hmm.
I'm doing it day after. I will only have to do it. So might as well do it and sleep.
That
Peacefully.
makes sense. So,
And not like I have to get up in the morning to do this. So I have done everything and I have slept now. So now no tension.
so maybe what I used to do is put in very simply that, tomorrow's to-do list. It includes this as well. So there's one more extra action item, and then
So
at
then
times
that-
it goes to tomorrow, day after. and
Correct.
day
So
after,
as
and
I said,
the day after.
don't procrastinate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I think it makes sense.
So see, if you feel like this is your
Hmm.
job, matlab, like it's your chore to do,
Correct.
you will have to do it regardless of today or tomorrow.
Today
But
or
tomorrow it will just
Sooner the
become
merrier, though.
right,
Yeah,
and
correct.
tomorrow it may just increase by 2 times.
Quite.
And
a
then day
bit
after it
more.
will increase 3 times. And now
Hmm.
you're like, there's so much work to do.
Right.
But why didn't you do it on day one where there was less work to do?
No, I know someone who, instead of washing clothes, buys a t-shirt. So
Yeah.
I've come across those
Yes.
as well.
Yes. I have. Yes.
So just to avoid that, and maybe see, at times if you are unable to, maybe you can hire someone to wash your clothes. Those are also there as a startup, as services.
Yes.
So that makes sense. I
Like
mean,
if you want to make your life easier, but you will have to take that initial step. You will have
exactly,
to go
you're
to the
still
laundry
at the-
place.
Exactly. You're still at the center of it, right?
Yes.
You have to make that call that,
Yes.
what, hey, come over and just pick
Take
up
my
the
stuff.
clothes.
Yes.
Exactly. So
So,
yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. How about the fourth one now? What's the fourth one?
So the fourth one is that you should declutter every day. So that
Okay.
okay. So if you
Again,
see,
coming back to the same.
yeah. So okay. So let me
Connected to the same.
back up. So give everything a designated space or like a home.
Okay.
Okay. So your pens go in this pen stand on this table here. Okay. So you
Makes
see
sense.
random pens here and there. Put it in its place. So I'll just combine the two. Okay.
Hmm.
So you give everything a designated space, and the second one is declutter every day. So if everything you're going to see, even one random object, you know its space, you put it in its place. Okay, you're not going to wait. Okay, fine, let me just put it here. Let me put another thing here. Let me put a third thing here. And then you'll have a table full of mess, and then you'll be like, my table is in a mess. So one random object will attract other random objects towards that item. Because, so I don't know if you must have noticed that if you have left a dirty plate near the kitchen, okay, near the sink, and now you'll have another plate. Then somebody else in the house,
that's a designated spot for
correct,
dirty plates.
Another person will come and put a cup there. Then you will have random chilka of something. Okay, and that full place will look like a mess. But if you have a designated basket or something like that, and you all have kept it in that, is all in a contained space and not cluttering your entire table. And as you said, that you see a big clutter and then you're like, I can't cook.
Correct.
Because that one plate attracted other plates around it.
Right.
So this can be for your work table also. Your anything, like your kids' toys also. Like if he has kept this one toy here, now he will come and put another toy there. And then a third toy there. And now he will start, he will start coloring over there. So now there are crayons also over there. So basically one item attracts other items. If you see one item out of place, your head should be like, ding ding, I need to put it in its place.
So basically making it as though you're breathing. Right. I mean, it should be a part of your very daily life.
Right. And it should not feel like a task because,
right.
I mean, you took the scissors, you keep it in its place. Don't keep it. So that's what I tell Manish as well. If you can keep it here, can you keep it here? Yes. Then why didn't you keep it there?
Makes sense.
Yeah, like, just a regular thing. So whenever I come home, so she has kept a small artistic like
bowl
or basket. Like it's a small something made of bamboo. So for my car key.
Makes sense.
Like, and it's right there the moment I enter. It's just there on the
You have
TV
no
cabinet.
ideas how difficult it is for me to find my bike keys every day.
So what?
It makes sense.
A lot of times what happens is I'll just keep it next to that basket.
Like keep it in the basket.
And she'll come and say like, if you can keep it here, why can't you keep it inside the basket? Like,
makes sense.
In that bowl. And like, I
am pretty
realize,
sure.
like, that I did not think like, okay, I'll keep it here. I just kept it randomly. But like, so she will do that with everything. So she's constantly doing like, this with everything. She'll pick it, she will keep it back then and there. So like,
So I remember this one book, I guess you might have read about that also, the Atomic Habits. So they had this one same concept where they said that we are living our life in a very unconscious manner.
Right.
And at times to bring the unconscious to the conscious, you need to speak it out and point it out as well. So that is one very, very interesting story which they mentioned of the Japanese subway system. All right. So whenever there is an employee who is seeing a train coming in, they'll be pointing towards the train saying that, hey, the train is coming in. The train came in at 11 a.m. The doors are opening at 11:01. Something of that sort. Now, for us, normal civilians who are not a part of the team of the subway, it might sound very, very funny at times that why is he someone who is retarded, who is not understanding. But while they are saying this, they are actually pinpointing towards certain set of these habits which are usually taken for granted, right? And that has reduced the accident rates within the subway system by a significant 80%. I mean, that's a very huge number if you see. So there was something very, very interesting which really hit me that, if you have a particular habit, like for instance, if I open my phone, the first thing opens is a WhatsApp. Instead of, I know that I've opened to email someone, but the first thing opens is a WhatsApp. So I can immediately catch myself as a third person saying, Virat, you need to open the Gmail and not WhatsApp. That's not a good habit. So whenever I'm naming that out, that's one way of helping me towards, those unconscious habits which I have. Because, I mean, you never know when this just built up. So these are not wrong or right the way I see it. These are things which are they going to help you or are they not going to help you? As simple as that.
Yeah. So you have to just train your mind.
Exactly.
Train your mind to look like that in that direction.
Right.
That, okay, if I don't keep it in its place, then I will only have to keep it in its place.
Exactly.
So might as well like keep it in its place in the
if there
start.
is a designated area, let's
Put it in that, because
make sense.
otherwise everything will be just kept here and there. So like again, you will come back to the state of havoc because you did not keep that one pen in its place and
No, so
just correct
I
it.
see it more as a habit, right? I mean,
Correct.
if it is applied to a key, it can be applied to a lot of other things
Yes.
also, right? A lot of things you're living unconsciously.
Yes. So
Makes sense.
like we don't realize it, but we do a lot of stuff like that.
Right.
So I will give you an example. Like, see, I don't expect everyone to live their life with such discipline all the time.
Mm.
So my sister is one of them. So what she has done is that she has given herself one shelf in her
Right.
cupboard. And what that shelf is, it's her dumping shelf. Okay? So when that shelf is full, she will fix it. But it's a tiny shelf. It is not her entire house.
Okay.
So that is her thing. That is how she fixed. As I said, everyone does its own thing. So this is her thing. She has a shelf. She dumps everything. So if she's wearing clothes, this is not fitting, this is not looking good. Okay, whatever. Just dump it, come back to it.
Right.
I am not that person. I will immediately
that is also
fold
not
it.
a very bad idea. Like,
Right.
I mean,
So
it
as
works
I
for
said,
her. It works for her.
Exactly. So you do you, as I said. If
Right.
this works for you, do it. This doesn't work for me. Because in my back of my head, I'll be like, I didn't keep that thing in its place. It's randomly kept there on the bed. I need to fix it. And my head will be going ting, 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 ting. It's not kept.
So that makes sense, because now that you mentioned your sister, even my sister, she works like a compiler. She accumulates things and one day she organizes everything.
Yes.
What I do is, if I've done something, I'll make sure that it is done through, and wherever things are needed to be placed wherever. To a certain extent, yes, I would say I have failed at a lot of places. But then, truth be said, I believe in sort of cleaning up after my mess and like that. But my sister, in the sense that, once it is all accumulated, one go, I will clean it up, and she does a terrific job in cleaning it up.
Yes.
Right?
So if that works for you, do it.
Exactly.
But as I see it, that take smaller steps, it's easier than taking one large step.
Exactly.
So it depends. Now, if that doesn't work for you, smaller steps are too much and one large step is easier, then do it. But do it. Don't take a big giant step at the end.
Right.
Because that will feel like a lot of work.
It might be overwhelming.
Yes. And that is what a lot of people feel. They feel very overwhelmed to start. That is your biggest, I would say, challenge towards your mindset.
Makes sense.
That my mind is cool. I want to fix it. Now I'm getting scared of the mess.
Makes sense.
So this is one thing that I want to tell very novice organizers, that don't get scared of the mess.
Right.
Take it slowly. Take it one step at a time, one drawer at a time. Yeah. One drawer at a time, one folder at a time, whatever works. Okay. So do it slowly, or like really jump into the deep end of the pool and swim to the shallow end.
Will that be the point number 5, or what?
That is bonus point.
Because that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you say that, this month, this day, I'm going to organize the whole of my life.
It's not going to happen.
Right there.
It will not happen. Like years of clutter is not going to go away in one day.
Makes sense.
Or in a 1 week, or in
It took you so many years to bring that clutter, and it will take you a while to.
Yes, correct.
Makes sense.
But if you want to do it, then do it also.
Right.
If I sit to organize my Manish has a big storeroom.
Right.
And that storeroom disturbs me.
Right.
But now initial days of my marriage, I really had to take medication to fix my palpitations.
Okay.
Yes, because I couldn't understand why I can feel my heart beating. Like, I did not understand this. But then I realized that it is the mess that is doing this to me. But I have made peace with that clutter, because I have realized that it's not my clutter. Okay. So I cannot throw it.
Yeah.
But still, sometimes I go there and throw something. So, like, Manish is a big hoarder for electrical equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
Random wires that don't work, रखते हैं. क्यों? रखते हैं.
Someday it might just help.
How will it work?
I am kind of
It
with
works,
him
dude.
in a
Like,
few things.
The
because
wire
you
is
see my
quite
house,
functional.
it's full of older earphones, and I don't know, someday I'll use that jack somewhere, or maybe I'll
Yeah,
get it repaired.
exactly.
I have
So
no idea.
my vacuum cleaner stopped working.
Yeah.
He has kept it. Why? Because इसका battery बहुत अच्छा है. So
Okay.
whole vacuum cleaner you have kept for that battery.
It's a very compact vacuum cleaner.
All right, moving
So,
to the next
okay.
one.
Yes. So moving to the next one, keep only what you think you need.
Okay.
This is a bit of minimalism that we spoke about
Right.
already.
Right.
There are statistics to show us that we use only 20% of the things that we own.
Hmm.
And that is like very small amount. So if you want to go towards that direction, really make a list of things that you need in your year.
Right.
Like see the seasons also and fix that.
My quick question to you here
Hmm.
would be, what about the things you want? I mean, I know I don't need them, but maybe I want them. How about those?
Yes. So the next point is stay away from sales and bargains.
Ah.
Stay away from them because you may not need it, but you will just get it because it's on discount.
Wow.
Massive discount, let's take it. Amazon sale, let's take it. Not needed. Like I am a hoarder for skincare,
Right.
but now I have made a conscious effort that I need one serum in my life,
Right.
not 2 serums in backup.
Yeah.
And third serum I'm eyeing on because it's come on discount. So don't do that.
Makes
Like,
sense.
so this is my next point, that stay away from sales and bargains. This is how you will realize to keep things that you need with you.
Right.
So, like winter wear, we don't need it in Bombay. So you don't get it.
Right.
When you need it, maybe you get one because you will really not need it. But we
Exactly.
need gum boots, right? Because it
sense.
rains a lot here.
Right.
So keep that, but don't keep 3 gum boots. Like for what? Like
For a very funny instance, maybe own a lot of pair of swimming costumes, because you
yeah,
definitely would want to swim in Mumbai. Seeing
exactly.
the amount of rains. Yeah.
Exactly. So keep what you need. If you want to go into the minimalistic route, so
Mhm.
really remove the thing. It may be emotionally challenging
It is.
for you to part with
Trust
that
me, it is.
item. But how I see it is that if I have not used it in so many months or years or whatever,
Yeah.
I have not even looked at it,
Right.
then why is it emotional? Just because take a photograph with it, and let it go. Because your trash can be somebody else's treasure.
Right.
Like there are lots of poor people in India, they may need your stuff.
I found out about this new concept which the Navi Mumbai.
Yes.
Yes, right. So they have
What do you
these
call it?
racks everywhere.
Exactly, right.
You keep your stuff, people will take it,
True,
whoever
true.
wants. Right? And you can forget that. You can always sell it. Make yourself some money.
Right.
Sell it. There are lots of thrift stores. People are thrifting a lot nowadays because
Right.
they want to reduce the environmental wastage of clothes
Makes
and
sense.
stuff, shoes, whatever. So they just go into dump yard. So might as well thrift it. You can sell it and somebody else can buy it.
You have to remind me, which point number were we on? That was number 6.
Okay, we're on the last one, I think.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So last one is work towards your goal. You will
Right.
have to work towards it. You cannot expect miracles. You cannot expect a shortcut. You cannot expect anything. Like you have to work towards it.
Right.
You want an organized home. You want an organized life. Work towards it. You
Okay.
cannot be like, I don't want to work towards it. I want
Right.
an organized life, but my children are not helping me. Oh, do you? First fix yourself, then go on to the next person
Exactly.
and help them. But children, you need to take accountability for. Spouse, forget them.
Interesting, because I mean, whenever we've recorded the podcast, every time we've come up with this same theory that first off, you need to put in the work. Second off, the journey is always inside out, and
Right.
and many a times we've sort of come up with the concept that everyone's in that delusion that something from the out to in is how I need to take care of a particular situation.
Yeah.
I think
So
this is-
in us, I think this question was asked in almost every workshop of yours, that I really want to do it, but my family members are
Yes.
not cooperating.
Yes.
My nobody's helping. It is all
Right.
coming on me. Almost every
Yes.
workshop,
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Every-
mostly the women of the house are the ones who are joining. right? I have rarely seen men, and I do not understand why. Maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it. So, but the women of the house are the ones who are always coming and telling me this.
Yeah.
But as I said, are you saying that your wardrobe is not organized because your child is making a mess, or your husband is making a mess, or there is your kitchen is in a mess, but you are the only one who's using the kitchen?
Right.
So why is it in a mess? Your husband doesn't cook, your children definitely don't cook. Then why is it in a mess? So basically, leave them. If older people are the people you cannot change immediately.
Correct.
Okay,
Takes
they
time.
will change with reason, or they will. So there is one lady, I remember her, that she was like, so she was brought up, I think by her father or something. She did not have a mother to help her, guide her in her young age.
Right.
So now she's telling me, my mother-in-law keeps on taunting me that your house is not organized. So
Makes
she
sense.
joined my course to basically not hear that, and she's really putting in the work.
Makes
She
sense.
keeps sending me videos that now what do I do with this space? Now what do I do with that space? It
Right.
may not look Pinterest perfect, but it is organized for her.
Now, so for that, basically, it is workable as well, right? I
Right.
mean, you
Functionally,
don't want
it works.
You don't want an Instagrammable picture. out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you think of her why she wanted to do it. It
Exactly,
was
I mean,
very
that's-
strong, like, you know.
True.
And she was very emotional about it. If I
Exactly.
remember,
Right.
I remember when you were telling me about this, and the lady was very emotional about this. That like she has to hear all this, and she takes it very personally. And then again, she like emotionally breaks down that you know
Right.
I'm listening to all this because I did not have a mother to help me, and like you know,
Makes
she
sense.
constantly like you know blames the situation that she
Right.
was into,
Right.
and that's not right. But so that's what like her why was very strong, and that's why she took those efforts.
But the way I see it, maybe the initial idea, the thought of it might not be the best, but then the work with which she's approaching, and like you said, right? I mean, she's very
absolutely.
proactive.
Absolutely.
Probably one of those few of your students who are very proactive in
Right.
terms of approaching things.
Right.
So it doesn't take a longer stretch for you to inculcate that as a habit.
Right.
Right.
Because your why is very strong.
Exactly.
You have a strong why. Your why is not that I want to clean my house, I want it to look pretty.
Instagram.
It's not it's
okay.
not a strong why. It won't keep
sense.
you passionate for a long time.
Right.
You want to be passionate for a long time, you're going to have to get a stronger reason that I just want my house to look pretty.
Right.
So a lot of things I have said is that you're like when guests come home, like Manish has also said this,
Hmm.
that when guests come home, they feel nice in my house because my house is clean
Right.
and my house is neat. Everything is in its place. There are no random objects here and there.
Right.
Why this happened? Because somebody is putting in the work
Hmm.
every single day. So random guest is coming in and you're not like frantically running around
Right.
because somebody's done the work beforehand, like every day.
So it's more welcoming.
The whole place becomes welcoming. So your house becomes welcoming. Your workspace becomes welcoming for you to come and work, whatever.
So I guess I've seen this in a lot of Japanese household where they hold their
Yes.
children also to account in
Yes.
terms of each thing having its own place
Yes,
and
yes,
all
yes.
those sorts. And there are specific
Japanese
slippers
are
for
next
your.
level, yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
they are next level. Yes.
The
So they have
schools,
slippers
the
for
schools also make you do a lot of work in
Exactly.
the
So
Yes.
washrooms, and they
Yes,
have
yes.
turns to clean their washrooms.
true.
And
So-
everything, yeah.
So you don't feel like, and my parents also do it. My grandparents have also done it. I can also do it.
now, so I mean, the way I would put this as is, I mean, you like you said a few minutes ago,
Hmm.
you don't need to be dependent on a maid or someone else to
Right.
come in and get things done for you. Wherein you see it as something which is beneath you to even
Yeah.
organize things, right? But in terms of your daily usage, there won't be someone 24/7 at your beck and call to organize. You cannot expect someone else or think of it as something beneath you. What I really want to sort of portray here is you're not say a wealthy trillionaire or a zillionaire as such who has say people to organize things for them and you're just leading your life, right? You're
No, but what happens even if you are? See,
right.
this organizing is the overall habit impacts your entire life.
Hmm.
And every area of your life.
Yes.
Like, if you say that, if you want to be successful with whatever
Right.
you do,
Right.
so the thing that comes with it, that you have to be productive, you do not
Right.
you should not be procrastinating, your things should be all in place. Like, if you have a plan, say, like, if you have a
Yes.
entrepreneurship plan,
Yes.
so it has to be in place. That how are you following it on time?
Right.
And your work desk, again, coming back to the
Correct.
clutter around you, it is not going to be something that your money will help you do and sort it for you, everything. Like, there are things that you will have to do it, and you will be able to do it on time only if you are organized yourself. Like, so I
Something in your head,
understand
yeah.
this as an example. Like, after we got married, and like my desk used to be a mess. I used to keep everything that I need on the table. I want everything. So whatever I want, like, I'll just sort
Right.
things aside, just move things aside and take whatever I want. Now I have like a space, a dedicated space for everything, like,
everything, yeah.
and even if a single pen is lying on the table, it, like, it appears like ye pen kyun hai yahan pe, like, so that it like it is the odd man out,
Right.
like a single pen also,
Yeah.
because it has a space,
like a
it has a
weed in your
place for it.
garden.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of difference when you're like working on something. There is no distraction around you.
Right.
There's nothing that that is holding you back from doing your work. So like, coming back to what you were saying about a millionaire. So even if you have money to like sort everything, like somebody's coming and even organizing your cupboard, like you're paying for it, but it may not help in certain areas which are like very personal to you, like,
Yeah,
Right.
like
or maybe your work.
yeah, like organizers, they charge like a whopping 20, like start at 10,000 rupees to organize one room.
Wow.
And it is not like a service that you are, okay, you've done it and now, like, it's not like a
No-
paint job.
Now
You've
you
done
need
your,
to sort of maintain that also.
correct.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
not,
It's like
it's,
you want to learn a guitar,
Right.
and you hire somebody, the guy comes home, plays guitar for you and leaves.
Right.
And now, like, this
How will
is
you
just-
learn?
How will you learn? How are you going to do
You
it?
need
Like,
to practice it. As
Yeah.
simple as that.
So
Yeah.
all you get is like
Hmm.
guitar being played in your room. That's all.
so they will
It's one
organize it for you. But if you don't maintain it, your 10,000 is gone.
Exactly.
And
Like-
trust me, it can go for a toss within 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yes, absolutely. So they will fix it, but you have to maintain it. So you rather fix it yourself
Makes sense.
and not worry about that. So
Maybe come up with a workable solution for
Yes.
you and stick to that. I mean, wherever you feel that there is some sort of a creativity loss, definitely you need to look
Yeah.
at that aspect.
yeah.
also.
So again, another thing what people do is that whenever they want to get organized, they start seeing videos and they start seeing Instagram photos, and they waste their time and they don't do any work.
And the other
Right.
thing they do is they start organizing everything together.
Yeah.
They don't finish it and they put back the
Correct.
clutter.
Yes.
Correct.
So I can't do it. Fix it. I mean, forget it.
Makes sense.
So a lot of students now have realized the importance of involving, and I'm saying child. I'm not saying girl child, male
Right.
child, nothing like that. So they're involving their children with themselves. So they send me photos of their child doing.
You remember
Wow.
that girl child who was
Yes,
part of your
yes.
workshop?
So she's
Wow.
just 9 and she's joined my course. She's like,
No, but why she joined? You
she
should tell.
got, yeah. So she got, like, her mother sent me an entire message in the, like, after my workshop, that she got very impressed and she got very motivated to change her life. And she's the one who enrolled for the course.
Wow.
And as a birthday gift, her mother gifted her the
Yeah.
course.
That's nice.
Because,
That's an
and
interesting
she,
one.
so she does it. Like, if she's busy with her exams, then she'll do it some other time. But she will send me photos, which is very amazing that she's taken the accountability to fix it. Now, if she's going to fix it, then she's going to help her parents also. Like, nowadays kids are teaching their parents.
True.
So if they can change, then you can.
I mean, you need to have certain role models created, right?
Correct. So, and the role
Yeah.
model can be of any age. You
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
can't. Yes.
Age
So
doesn't.
it doesn't matter that I am 30 and you are 50, but I'm teaching you because I've done it for 30 years.
Correct.
You haven't done it for 50 years.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, that way. So basically hold yourself accountable and responsible for your things
Makes
first,
sense.
and then start blaming on everybody else.
Hmm.
And like Manish has told me this a million times, that the change that has happened in his life is like massive.
Right.
So
Yeah, definitely.
he initially, so I asked him that why is your house so messy? is it messy?
Because we don't see it as
Yes, so
Yeah.
that viewpoint needs to change also.
correct.
Like for a woman, she may see it, but a man may not see it.
So at times, what happens is you don't know that you don't know. So that's usually a place
Right.
where you're at.
Exactly.
And you actually don't know there could be something better also here.
Right.
So that's where
So-
the webinar also comes in
Yes.
very, very handy, right?
So it sort of gives you a light. Okay, it can be looking like this,
Exactly.
but you haven't looked at it in this way at all.
I mean, say for instance, it might be at a 60% how do I say productivity sort of a place, but you could bump it up to a 90-95%
Right.
with just a few,
Few tweaks
small tweaks that you
And
make.
changes.
That makes a lot of sense. But I'll get you to a very specific question which we do in our podcast segment. That what would be the typical resources you would ask someone to consume? That is now specifically in terms of say a podcast, say books, or say certain. I mean, for lack of better word, say a social media platform that where you can identify certain good ideas and maybe just stick to that in terms of learning and applying it to your life. So, what would be certain resources that you would name out here? Maybe name drop a few.
See, I think social media is more influential in this way because you will see a clear before and after,
Right.
which you may not be able to see in a podcast,
Okay.
right? But
No, but
if you are podcast will help you change
Yes.
your, and podcast is something where you don't need to keep your eyes glued to something.
So that is
You
to
can
reduce
hear
screen time. That makes sense. But what would you typically consume in terms of say your organizing journey? Is what I wanted to hint towards.
So I look at examples in people.
Okay.
Which is what I do. So if I see that, okay, so people have taught me also,
Makes sense.
which I am like, yeah, this is a good idea. Why I never thought
That's
of
right.
this? Okay, so I look at people as examples.
Right.
But if you don't have that kind of people around you, then you search for any platform that can help you. Okay, listening to podcast, if podcast is helping you change your mindset,
Right.
do that.
Yes.
It may help you change. They may be talking about business, okay,
Right.
but it is changing your mindset towards organizing. Like you are applying that same examples to
Right.
this way. Okay, so they may be talking about marketing and how, like, if you want to become a marketer, how you need to think like a marketer, things
Right.
like that. So if that thinking is changing you to change your life in any way, then do it. But if you want like examples and inspiration from somewhere, then look at social media.
Makes
Like,
sense.
how can I fix this place to look a little better? Let me take some inspiration.
Got you.
So take inspiration and do you. So like initially I never used to organize things in baskets.
Right.
Everything was organized. It may not look like, as I said, pretty, but I think now baskets have made my life easier. And that I saw as an inspiration somewhere and I started doing it.
Makes sense.
So you take inspiration, pull inspiration from wherever you can. But
So the core of it has to be the mindset.
the
but
mindset. For starting, it has to be the mindset. When your mind is like fixed, then your life will also be.
I guess something where I am working towards is the habits part. So Atomic Habits is really helping me. I mean, I'll highly recommend everyone to at least
The
give it
books.
one read. It's something very interesting in terms of how does habit actually build in an individual. So
Right. So it
Yeah.
may, as I said, so this may teach you something else, but
Correct.
you can use it application wise in your life to basically get organized.
right.
Or
So the
like-
takeaway is very personal, right?
right.
Like you
So
said,
so I keep telling my students also that you are different and she is different. Don't compare. Your husband is different, you are different. Don't compare. You do you, let him do him.
Now something
You
interesting
don't-
which you actually pointed out. The one thing you can actually consume here is basically your webinar itself. That could be a very good start.
A good starting point. So
right.
a lot of people want somebody to hold them accountable.
Correct.
That Inas will ask me, why I haven't not done this.
Right.
So like we have a WhatsApp of all my students also. So there's one, so I'll just give you a small example. The one lady was like, I want a coin purse. because
Right.
my chiller keeps it's just everywhere. I go
Hmm.
in the bus or you go in the taxi or whatever, and you have coins. Where do you
Yep.
keep your coins?
Yep.
She's like, I want a coin purse.
Hmm.
So we held her accountable. That dude, you had told us Saturday you're going to have a coin purse. Do you have a coin purse now? So
Okay.
sometimes you need a buddy to help you also. That buddy can be anyone. Can be your child, can be your husband, can be somebody sitting on a WhatsApp chat.
Right.
Right? It can be
So you can-
anyone.
you can
If that
identify
works for you, then do it.
anyone. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So you can have a friends group. Let us all do it.
Right.
Whatever works for you. Right? As I said,
But
you do you.
But what I'll do for the listeners is also mention your link to the webinar, and they can very very well sort of apply to it, and
Right.
maybe approach you also
Yes,
for all
please
those
email.
who want to really learn, and very very happy to do that. So coming towards the natural progression, I mean, this was actually very great. I think I have a lot of takeaways from this podcast, and especially in terms of where do I begin in terms of organizing my own life. I started off small. Maybe I think I can take
Take
maybe
it up a notch.
two steps ahead, not just one,
Mhm.
maybe two notches up, and try and get things organized. Maybe I'll keep it a realistic end date to it. Maybe I will sort of call you or
Yes.
take some help from you as well. And then yep, that was the amazing one. So thank you so much all the listeners for sticking around. And here's something special as a surprise. I mean, I know it's no longer a surprise. It's basically a beautiful song for you. And you guys are amazing. Keep listening to the VAbE podcast. And thank you so much. Ta-da. You just heard the VAbE podcast. And this is us signing off, leaving you all with a beautiful, beautiful track. Music credits in the description below. Find us on the major platforms by Google, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Links in the description. Show us some love in the comments below. And do tell us what you loved about our thoughts. This is us signing off yet again. Peace.
Hey.